If you have questions, concerns, and are just lost when it comes to planning for retirement, meet Steve Hoyle and Derek Caldwell of the Hoyle Financial Group. Your goal to help somebody retire Texas style is to help them retire bigger and better than everybody else out there, right? We want that sturdy income plan that's going to last you to and through retirement. And I tell you what, there's lots of folks out there that need your help. Listen to these stats. Almost a third of Americans have nothing saved for retirement. There's a new study that found out 40% don't contribute to any form of retirement fund, and then 30% just don't never expect to retire. So a lot of experts blame this on, financial literacy gap. We don't know enough. We're not educated enough. So therefore, we're going to fail to plan. What is your take on this when somebody comes in and they say, I don't even know where to begin. I'm not sure what to do. How do you help them plan for successful retirement?
I'm going to say, first of all, tell them they're not alone. It's a huge education gap in our country, and honestly, it breaks my heart to hear those stats that you just said, Jess. I mean, I feel like that a lot of times that they don't even start because they don't know how to, or they feel discouraged that it's not going to turn out to be anything meaningful for them. And the time value of money is fantastic. Compounding interest, all these things that you just got to start somewhere. And, I had a client the other day that was telling me, I'm his financial mechanic, which I thought was really funny because he's like, look, I don't want to get underneath the car and fix it with you, but I want to know what needs to be fixed, and you tell me how you're going to fix it. And that really hit hard there, that we try to do that for everybody. And we do 9 to 12 education classes throughout Texas during the year because we understand that gap is huge. And educating people on what they have and things that they can do better. I mean, there's so many different changes in the last 20 years in retirement planning, right, Steve? That's what we do on a daily basis.
It is what we do. But and I think how many people spend so much time worrying about that final phase of life called retirement, but they don't take action. It's funny, when people take action, they call us, they either do a Zoom call, they sit down with us. What they find is that extra added peace of mind, knowing that they're going to be set up all the way through retirement, having that plan, having those options, if this happens or that happens, I have a strategy for it. And I think that's what's really important. I see so many people that tell me, when they come to see us, I'm not going to live past age 70. Well, what if you do? I see a lot of people in retirement thought, I never thought I'd still be here. We have some clients in their 90s that are going, I didn't plan for this. Well, what they meant was they have plenty of money. They just didn't want to be around for it. But you really think about that. We don't get to choose. But when you sit down and really strategically look at the numbers, it's 75% about the emotions and 25% about the numbers.
There are some in the financial world that consider the word annuities to be bad. But Barron's writer Elizabeth O'Brien, she says the stigma is just largely outdated.
Well, these are not your father's annuities. These are different. The annuities that got a bad rap, and sometimes deservedly so, were often variable annuities that had very high fees, high surrender charges. They were just not the greatest investments. But the ones that are now starting to crop up in 401k plans are fixed annuities, which have historically been lower cost. Now in 401k plans, they're even lower because you've got institutional pricing. And so they're definitely a different breed of annuity that's worth a look to divert a portion of your 401k into guaranteed income for life.
Well, the problem really is that while annuities have been permitted in 401ks for several years now, only about 13% of the plans offer them. So how do we create this opportunity for ourselves?
Oh, well, anybody over the age of 59 and a half, or I say anybody, 95% of people over 59 and a half can take control of their 401k. So the open market has a ton of different annuities, guys. And I'm going to tell you, fixed index annuities and fixed annuities are where it's at. Most of the time, our strategy is either no fee if you're looking for growth, or an income plan for an income rider annuity. And we don't use variable annuities. And that's something that she touched on there. They are high in fees. And if you've had an annuity longer than 5 years, guys, most likely, if you take our annuity challenge, we're going to kill that thing. And I'll tell you, because just the other day, I had a client came in, had 2 annuities, and Steve, you're not going to believe this. Their S&P cap And everybody, what that is the most you can gain in the S&P 500 index, which is the most common index for indexed annuities, was 2.5%.
Wow.
Steve.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, fixed annuities are at 5%, and they're capping it at 2.5%. Yeah, they're cutting his legs out from under him. So we're moving those currently, and we've probably moved 5 or 6 in the last 2 weeks, guys. Take our annuity challenge. If you have an old annuity, I mean, we can kill that thing, guys. I'm telling you right now.
You know, Derek, it's exciting when you think about one of our strategies has 10% fixed year one. So just think about put $100,000 in there, put $500,000 in there for year one. It's not tied to the market. It's 100% fixed. Boom, 10%. And then the beginning of year two, you can then tie it to the S&P 500 with a 15% cap. So what that means to you out there is that if the S&P is up 12%, you get 12%. If it's up 16% the next year, you get 15%. That's how much you make of the movement. But the great thing is in 2022, when the S&P was down nearly 20%, zero is your hero, and you don't lose anything that year. So you can't lose money, you can only make money. But when you can capture up to 15% of the cap, it's huge. You know, call us, we'll sit down and talk about the details of how it works. But why would you want to be out there in the market right now when it's hanging out there so far? And, you know, there's so many strategists talking about that we'll have the largest correction in the history of the stock market this year. What's interesting is, why would you want to be in the market when today, why would you not want this kind of protected strategy as compared to being out there in the market? You know, so many economists out there are talking about in 2024, it will have the largest correction in the history of my lifetime. Wow. I mean, think about that. So, you know, safe money's where it's out. Absolutely. Like Derek says, you need market exposure. Sure you do. But you need upside potential and mitigate the risk. That's what it's about.
Steve, those are a lot of great opportunities that you're talking about here. And Derek, just a few moments ago, you mentioned the annuity challenge that our listeners can call and give it to you and say, hey, Derek, Steve, here's the annuity challenge from me. Tell me what you can do. Tell me more about this challenge and what can our listeners get from you?
Oh, absolutely. You know, annuity challenge is kind of a thing me and Steve started a while back, and we had seen so many people that were looking at annuities, and they had old ones, and they were bringing them to us. I mean, it was constant that they'd bring us, and hey, I had this, annuity. It's not doing very much for us. And we start to look at it, and guess what, Jess? They weren't. So we started doing an annuity challenge, and we have things in YouTube videos and all kinds of stuff about it. And, send us your statement, come in the office, whatever you want to do, and we can sit down and look over your annuity. And within 15 minutes, I'm going to tell you, is it good? Is it bad? The ugly of it? And verify that it's meeting what you bought it for in the first place. Meeting that need is very important. If you're 80 years old and you have an income rider on your annuity that you've never activated, I can tell you right now, you're in the wrong annuity. So there's so many different factors there. Give me 15 minutes, guys, and I can give you 2 years of your life back where you can drag that away from your boss, right, and retire. And when we look at people that have funds in the market, like Steve mentioned, take control of that. The number one thing we hear when people come in our office is, I'm in the 100% in the market, and I hope it doesn't go down. We
Hope's not a plan, Derek.
Yeah, we hear it all the time. And it's like, just like you said, hope is not a plan. Take that step forward, and I will show you, if you don't have an annuity, how an annuity can benefit you as a piece of your portfolio to create and mitigate less risk in your portfolio. So if something does happen, like in 2024 that they're projecting out, then it's not going to ruin it where you have to work another 10 years, guys. Come on.
Well, what's interesting, Derek, is I have people say, wait, I have a couple more years of surrender charge. We'll figure that out. We have bonuses that will make up for that. And also, so many people are hanging out there with that annuity because when I get ready to turn this income on, this income is so high. Absolutely not. It's not high. We can beat that income 90 to 95% of the time.
We all know her, of course, the famous finance guru, Susie Orman. She spoke recently about a list that she says should take some of that fear away when it comes to these scary headlines about Social Security. Steve and Derek, I'm going to run through these and I want to get your opinion. She says, number one, Social Security will not run out of money. Number two, if they raise the retirement age, it will not affect those on the verge of retirement. Number three, if you want a bigger check, all you have to do is wait till you're 70. Number four, if you need the money sooner, you should take it. After all, it's your choice. Number five, married couples have a number of strategies that can help increase benefits. All right, so Steve, let's start with you. What do you think about this list? Would you add anything to it?
I think it's nuts. I think it's absolutely nuts.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, Derek and I were talking, she's worth $40 million.
$40 million, Jess. $40 million.
And it's not going to affect her. But, it's going to affect mom and pop consumer. Let me tell you something. I mean, it's going to hit people's pocketbook. And I mean, when you see people in our companies in our industry that are designing products, if there is a change and Social Security is reduced, they have something that will step in to make that up. Tell me something. We need to be aware. I mean, it even goes back to your Social Security statement. It shows if things do not change by 2034, 2035, that we're going to have a reduction in Social Security. And I just think it's really important to make that part of your plan and plan that if that does happen, how are you going to deal with it? We do really work well with that. Talk about that, Derek.
Yeah, and Susie, bless her heart, I love a lot of the stuff she says, guys. Don't get me wrong there, but with that kind of money that she has, if she takes a 25% Social Security reduction, she'll have to skip drinking 2 cups of coffee a day or whatever she does with that kind of chunk change for her, right? But there's a lot of people that with Social Security, they depend on that. Majority of Americans in retirement, it is one, if not their only dependable income source. And so we work with people on producing another guaranteed income source to partner with Social Security. And that helps kind of take that edge off where if that reduction does come into play, that you have that other guaranteed income source to live on and to rely on. But a lot of this stuff that she says about if you need money sooner, you should take it and everything. When people hear that, they say all they hear is take it. 100% guaranteed. So it's like, yes, you should take it if you need it, and there's different strategies there, but make sure you're prepared because there is a trade-off in everything we do in life, and retirement is no different. You take Social Security early, you got to make it up somewhere else. You got to do something different with your portfolio. If you're taking on too much risk, you got to do something different. I mean, everything is give and take there. You got to make sure that you get with somebody like us that will make sure that your goals are met and partner with somebody to continue that throughout the stages of retirement because sometimes goals change too. But that partnership's very important, and meeting your goals can be dependent on what they are, but also how we strategize for that. So it's a big deal.
Derek, I agree that's really important, but one of the things that we do for our clients that we think has made a pivotal difference is doing a Social Security risk score analysis. We really figure out how at risk you are with your portfolio for a reduction in Social Security. And it's really important to know what that risk is and make sure you have a plan in place. It's just one of the things we do in our toolbox, but it's really eye-opening to our clients that, wow, when this happens, I have a plan, and it's not going to affect me in a monumental way because I figured it out, Derek.
Yeah, and if it happens, then you're already protected, and you feel good about that drop in Social Security. If it doesn't happen, hey, go to Vegas, spend more money, right? I mean...
I think it's something that you have to kind of look at both sides of the coin there, right? If it does happen, if it doesn't happen. And, just to remind our listeners, Derek, correct me if I'm wrong here, but when it comes to claiming Social Security, there's over 500 different claiming strategies. This is not a simple, do you want option 1, 2, or 3? So it is a big deal. It's a big opportunity to make the right decision at the right time. And this is also a decision you can only make once, right, Derek?
Absolutely. And there's a lot of strategies, too, that just play into the fact if you're married or not married. Like you said, over 500 different strategies there. And what you do can influence how much your spouse gets in Social Security and when you take it and everything. And that goes a long way, especially if one particular spouse has a much higher Social Security than the other. We stress test that to make sure if one person passes away, how does it affect that? Their income. How does it affect their Social Security? How does it affect their entire portfolio? Because no matter what, with Social Security, if somebody passes away, husband or wife, you lose income. So that's another step that we take in the analytics of that, is to make sure that down the road, if somebody, for whatever reason passes away, that the other spouse is taken care of with that loss in income. So yeah, very many strategies out there. Don't think it's, hey, 62 or take it, or 70 or take it, or 66, because it plays a lot with your entire portfolio, how much income you generate, when to take it, your spouse when to take it, if you have a pension. I mean, there is a ton of different strategies that we look at and analyze for people each and every day.
If you'd like to sit down with Steve and Derek or a member of the Hoyle Financial Group, visit retiretexasstyle.com.
Investment advice offered through Hoyle Wealth Management, a Texas-registered investment advisor able to provide investment advice in states where it's registered, exempt, or excluded from registration. Content contained herein should not be construed as an offer or solicitation for investment advice or for the purchase or sale of any security, insurance, or other investment product. Investments involve the risk of loss, including possible loss of principal. Please consult with a qualified financial, tax, accounting, or legal professional before implementing any ideas or strategies discussed here. Content provided is obtained from sources believed to be reliable but cannot be guaranteed as to its accuracy or completeness. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Steve Hoyle, Texas Insurance License 716036. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Steve Hoyle is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Steve Hoyle is licensed in your state, please call 806-371-9473.